December 12th, 2019, December 22nd, 2019, 2 days before Christmas Eve. That was Sixpence None the Richer singing Angels We Have Heard on High. 2 days before Christmas Eve, 3 days before Christmas. And wow, we're here. It's definitely Christmas time, and it's going to be an absolutely bizarre week this week. Christmas is on a Wednesday. And what's going to happen is I have to go into work tomorrow. My wife does have to go for a little bit tomorrow. Not long, but she has to go for a little bit. The kids are on vacation, so they'll be off hanging out by themselves for a few hours. And then my wife will be home, and they're going to get stuff ready for Christmas. I have to work a full day, and then when I get back, I can take my son out to get some Christmas presents for his family. Yes. And then Mommy and I are going to have to wrap presents, and then it's Christmas Eve. I have to go in for half a day and do that. And then I'll be off for a day and a half. I have off Christmas Day, and then I have off the half day on Christmas Eve. And then we'll have family over on Christmas Eve for dinner, and we're going to go to Mass, and then we'll have Christmas. And my mom is going to come up and visit, and then we're going to go to my uncle's house, and we'll have dinner there. And then I have to go to work the 26th. My wife will be going to work again for a little bit on the 26th, but then she'll be done. And then they're free for the rest of the year, and I still have to work the 26th, 27th. 26th and 27th, and then the 28th is going to be Christmas with my sister, brother-in-law, my dad, and stepmom. And then that Sunday is just going to be relaxing recovery day. And then I have to go back into work on the 30th and the 31st. We might get out a little early on the 31st, but not by much. And then we have off New Year's Day, and then everybody goes back to school on the 2nd, and then we're back into 2020. So it's going to look like that I'll be doing my show on the 29th, which is a Sunday. So it'll be like the third Sunday in a row I'll be doing this show. But that's okay. It's just the way it works out. And yeah, we're getting close to the end of the year. So this is my Christmas episode. Now, ever since YouTube switched from being able to connect with Google Plus, which no longer exists, where I used to be able to do Hangouts and invite people and stuff like that, every year, my friend Jerry Fletcher and I, we would do a special Christmas list, top 10 Christmas list, and we would slowly get wasted and drunk while we did, and had a whole lot of fun. I'm probably going to post some of these this week, obviously, for Christmas and so on and so forth. So we got that going for us. But this year I do not have that ability, so I'm just sitting here trying out the blueberry tea, which actually isn't too bad, because they're out of the lemon lime one, or the lemonade and iced tea one. But that's actually not very sweet and very good. Anyway, I did my shopping yesterday. Got a lot of stuff done yesterday. Did a lot of stuff online shopping. There'll be some stuff rolling in tomorrow, and then we should be done. So yeah, I think we're getting close to the end. So the only special thing I'm really going to do for tonight's episode is we're going to talk about the theory of Santa, which is the name of this episode. There's a couple of theories out there about who Santa is, what Santa is, and I'll hit that probably in about half an hour. We're going to hit some of the news and stuff like that I usually do on the show with this. What we've got is we got a lot of Christmas stuff still coming through here. We've got Eddie Murphy back on Saturday Night Live. We've got Stupid People. Facebook was down again for me, but this time not as long as 48 hours before. Brisbane had a flash flood that you'll have to see, one for the ages. And Australia itself has gone through quite a disaster right now. First day of winter, full day of winter was today. First day of Hanukkah is today. So we'll talk a little bit about that. A dude's fart are so bad that you won't believe what's about to happen. A lot of drugs being sold out of government vehicles. Some really bad accidents and crazy accidents hitting stuff. A teen applying to college discovers that he's been missing. He's been declared missing for 13 years. And we'll hear a story about that. A very ingenious teenager paid for his PlayStation 4 in a very unique way. And we're going to be discussing the Mandalorians, episode 6 and 7. I don't remember if I did number 5, but I'm not going to talk about number 5. I'm going to talk about 6 and 7 because those are the ones I just saw. So I'm caught up about that. So about that. Quentin Tarantino's idea for Halloween 6 is actually kind of brilliant. We had some trailers, and an Amazon delivery van was stolen in Baltimore, which affected my daughter, and a whole lot more stuff. Oh, and the Ravens, my football team, are the #1 seed in the NFL. The road to the playoffs comes through, or Super Bowl comes through Baltimore. They get the first round bye, and they get nothing but home games from here on out till the Super Bowl. So let's hope they make it that far. So we'll see. So first up, candy cane Tootsie Pops. Everyone knows Tootsie Pops are pretty good. Got the Tootsie Roll in the middle. And this time they have a candy cane flavored one. Makes sense for the holidays. So you might be able to find some of that for you around here. Eddie Murphy returned to Saturday Night Live last night for the first time in 35 years. And with him, he brought the return of Buckwheat, Gumby, Velvet Jones, Mr. Robertson's Neighborhood. And also, he did a few other sketches as well, and got in trouble for one because he let out a curse word he wasn't supposed to, and then knew he made a mistake and was upset about it, and a few other things as well. I haven't seen some of the newer stuff. I just wanted to check his old characters out. His Mr. Robinson one is the best of all of them, with Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood being gentrified now and yuppies living in the neighborhood. He has squatters' rights, so he's still living in his shithole apartment. That's on Black Jeopardy, and that was kind of funny also. Buckwheat was the Masked Singer, and yet a little bit more of the Buckwheat songs. Some of the modern-day songs like that were pretty cool. All Tingle Taties was a good one. And Gumby came on and did his racist rants on Weekend Update, which is what Gumby did if you didn't know what his character was. And I haven't seen any of the newer stuff. I'm going to check that out. There was one about the North Pole News. There was a cooking show where he let out the curse word, and then there was a family Christmas thing. So I'm going to check those out at my leisure. I've got some time coming up. So it became the highest rated episode of Saturday Night Live in 2 years, I think they said, and I called that on Friday, so I knew it was going to be big, and it was. The USDA removes Wakanda as a free trade partner. The fact that a fictional African country, Wakanda, was a part of the USDA free trade partners is actually kind of funny. And also kind of sad that nobody realized that this is not a real place. And so a few people had jokes with The Onion made a joke where, some about the Wakandan stock market fell due to this happening and stuff like that. Christopher Nolan's movie coming out next year, Tenet, had a first full trailer, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. I'm not sure I'm that keen about it. It looks a lot like... what's that movie he made with Leonardo DiCaprio? That was like the dream mind-bending thing. Let's see if I can get it real quick. Christopher Nolan. Let's see. There's something about them saying this is the afterlife, and weird stuff like that. So I don't know. It just seemed kind of weird and just really fast paced, and just doesn't look like anything really that I'm dying to see. So I'm less than impressed with the trailer for Tenet. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see. He wants to keep everything to the vest. I got that, but it just seems like, okay, guess I've seen this before. It looks like, but we'll see. A guy, $88,000 from a bank, and brags about it on Facebook, and is promptly arrested. So the key here is that if you steal $88,000 from a bank, don't brag about it on social media, because they will find you and they will catch you. And you will go to jail. Amazon is selling a giant bear costume to keep you warm. So you can put on this giant bear costume made out of fur and stuff like that and curl up in it and go to sleep, and it'll keep you warm. So Amazon comes up with some really weird, wild stuff. Facebook was down for me again for about 5 hours, I guess, sometime earlier this week, Wednesday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, somewhere around there. It was down for about 5 hours. Still kind of annoying when things started popping up where I couldn't share anything again, and that really pissed me off. And that was when I started writing this stuff because I knew that I was going to, I needed stuff for the show. And if this is going to precipitate for a while, I figured I'd write down what I could. So a lot of this stuff that I wrote down is from that day. So that's what that's from. Dr. Sleep, which was you could say, the bomb that everybody was thinking was going to be a huge hit, sequel to The Shining. It got really good reviews, stuff like that, but it tanked in the movie theaters. Well, the director is releasing a director's cut on Blu-ray, and he said it's going to add a whole bunch of stuff and make it about, I think they said, 3 hours long. So maybe that'll make it a better film. That in itself should be an interesting thing to pick up, because a lot of people who did see it, they tend to like it, and they like the story, and Stephen King is still fairly hot during this time. So we'll see if that happens. Lego finally creates an anti-Lego slipper so that you can put it on and not break your feet walking on Legos and hurt yourself. So these new slippers are used to cushion you from any Lego possible injuries to the feet. Wife wakes up from her sleep to catch her husband watching a VR adult movie. So basically, he had the VR helmet on and he had a adult movie on, so it looked like he was banging a porn star, because I guess that's what the VR porn movies are. So a woman caught her husband doing that, and promptly got mad at him. A Wisconsin deputy scours the obituaries so she can break into the grieving family's houses. That's just sick, twisted stuff, and should not be happening. Let's see. Family finds an owl hiding on their Christmas tree. So I guess either it was one of these outdoor Christmas tree lots where they picked up the tree, or maybe they got it from a Christmas tree farm. I don't know exactly the whole story behind it, but regardless, they put the tree up, and when they were decorating, they discovered they had a owl in their Christmas tree. So, it puts the squirrel and the Griswold's Christmas tree to shame, but the owl didn't go crazy and attack the family. So I guess they were able to get it ushered out of the house. So that was good. Late last night, probably around 11, I guess it was about 11:08 or 11:19 p.m. yesterday, is when it officially became winter, solstice, Bon Hiver, whatever you want to call it. So it is now officially winter. It was chilly yesterday, but we're going through a little warming trend right now. And it's not really a warming trend. It's more, I guess the 50s are kind of a warming trend, but the average temperature is around the 40s, and that's where we're going to upper 40s, which is where we're going to be this week. No white Christmas here in Maryland. It's going to be partly sunny, 48, unless they changed it up. Let's see if they changed it up here. Nope, right now Christmas Eve is going to be sunny and 46, and Christmas Day is going to be partly sunny and 46. So it looks good. Ooh, it looks like there's snow in the forecast for the week before New Year's. New Year's Eve looks like it might be snow. So we'll keep an eye on that. But it looks like it's going to be 54 degrees tomorrow here in Baltimore. 46, as I said, Christmas Eve, 46 on Christmas Day, 52 on Thursday, Boxing Day, 51 on Friday, 49 partly sunny on Saturday, 48 with rain on Sunday, and then snow possible Monday and Tuesday, 41 and 40. So your New Year's Eve here, we might be dreaming of a white New Year's Eve, but not a white Christmas this year. But you know what? This area hardly ever gets white Christmas anyway. I remember the last one I kind of remember was years ago when the kids were still doing their nativities play that they do at our church, where they were, the kids get to be roles in the play, animals or shepherds or the wise men or whatever. And I remember, I guess my son wasn't old enough yet because I think I was holding him. And I remember looking up and I was seeing the snow falling up at the ceiling. I was like, okay, that's weird. So I went outside because my son was getting antsy and saw the snow coming down really heavy on Christmas Eve, and we drove back, and it stopped eventually, but it still lingered over into Christmas Day. So we had a white Christmas that day. So my son was young, so it had to have been maybe 2010, something like that. So that was the first day of winter. First day of Hanukkah was tonight. So we're getting to our all the winter celebrations are happening now. So what's going on with that? Dude's farts are so bad that the Dyson air purifier that he uses registers them as volatile organic compounds. And that's just really bad. I mean, I thought I had some bad ones, but I don't think mine are that bad. Whew. World's oldest known fossil was found in a New York this week. It's 150 million years before the dinosaurs. So that's now the oldest fossil found in New York, of all places. White Sands in New Mexico has become the newest national park. They're still picking out, you can still get new national parks all the time. This is the newest one in the National Parks Registry. So White Sands is now a national park and under national park protection. Not that that's much big difference because of what Washington's doing now, but that's besides the point. Sorry, I had to put my little asides in there because it still pisses me off what they're doing to our national parks, but that's besides the point. Mountain Dew has released a new body wash that smells exactly like Mountain Dew. And honestly, Mountain Dew really doesn't have any real kind of smell. And the fact that they created a body wash that smells like Mountain Dew is, all intents and purposes, amazing. That's weird. A Missouri church leader was caught paying for sex on Grindr with an Arby's card. Now, there's all kinds of things wrong with that one. Missouri church leader on Grindr caught paying for sex with an Arby's card. Yeah, just had sex. Okay, yeah, here, why don't you have this Arby's card instead of the money that I owe you? Oh, by the way, I'm also a minister. Merry Christmas. Tyrese Gibson has joined the cast of A Christmas Chronicle 2, which I talked about a couple weeks ago that Netflix is making it. So his role currently is unknown, and we will find out what it is next year. I guess if he's joined the cast, either they're filming it now or they're filming it soon. That's one I still haven't seen yet. I got to check that out. I mean, there's not a lot of time to watch any Christmas movies. I saw Home Alone on Friday, I think. And that's really the only Christmas show I actually have seen this year so far. According to Entertainment Weekly, the superhero of the year is Superman. I guess this year was the year that Brian Michael Bendis took over the writing of Superman and Action Comics. Helped recreate the Legion with Superman's son, and brought about all kinds of craziness. And then he revealed his secret identity to the world in an issue a couple weeks ago. So Superman is named the superhero of the year by Entertainment Weekly, which I didn't know they were doing, but hey, that's pretty cool. They're starting to do that now. Now, a couple weeks ago, I told you about the video that they caught of a woman who was pouring gasoline into grocery bags and then putting them in the trunk of her car. Well, along those same lines, a video has surfaced of a supermarket cashier asking if a customer, I guess they were filming it for some reason, unless it was a fake, maybe it was a fake video, because why would you be filming your encounter with a grocery store clerk unless you knew something weird was going to happen? Anyway, regardless, this is what happened in the video. So the cashier asked, would you like your milk in a bag? And I usually have my milk put in a bag because it's pretty big and I get gallons and it's easier to carry in a bag with the handles and stuff like that. So the person said, yeah, put in a bag. So what does the guy do? You guessed it. He opened up the milk and poured the milk into a bag. Again, I don't know how true that is because now I think about it, why would you be videotaping your encounter with a cashier at a grocery store unless you knew this was going to happen? But I digress. The woman who was pouring gas in bags did not know she was being filmed. And I guess the guy, that makes a little bit more sense because the guy actually saw her doing that and said, I got to get this on video. So he filmed it on video. Whereas this person, they're just filming their interactions with a cashier and asks, do you want your milk in a bag? And then does it. So I think it's fake, but I had to mention it because it's kind of a stupid story when it comes to that. Parents are outraged after realizing dolls that they bought for their kids for Christmas. There's a specific type of doll. I don't think it's ones you can get from like Target or anything like that, but they feature anatomically correct genitalia. So these dolls have penises and vaginas, and they're anatomically correct. I'm trying to remember a few years way back, early 2000s, when we started celebrating Christmas with Dawn's family. Her cousins are kind of crazy, so they would always do these gag gifts. So one year I decided to return the favor with gag gifts, and I bought a Barbie doll thing, but I think it was anatomically correct also. That was a joke and that was funny. But this, I don't know what kind of dolls they were, but they were anatomically correct, and that's shocking, actually. No, I'm not drinking this more. This is delicious. Could mysterious vanishing stars be signs from aliens? Now, apparently there have been some stars that have been disappearing recently, and a lot of people think that this might be the sign of, the anatomically correct genitalia. Oh no, they came back because I thought that took them off. Some stars have been vanishing mysteriously in the skies, I guess. So now people are thinking, could that be a sign from aliens? Maybe they're like flashing the lights on and off or something like that. Say, here we are, come and get us. That reminds me also, someone believes that Sirius the Dog Star, which is in Orion's belt, which is now visible here in the Northern Hemisphere, might actually be starting to not disintegrate, but degenerate, so that it would go away and go maybe supernova. So there's a possibility that we may see Sirius the Dog Star disappear from our skies soon. I'm not sure about that. So we'll see. But yeah, so to be continued. All right, let me just write this stuff down so I know what I wrote. Something surprised me. I was watching TV or something like that, and I don't remember what it was I was watching, but a commercial popped up for Jennifer Hudson, who is an Oscar winner, playing Aretha Franklin in a biopic coming out in 2020. And I did not know there was a biopic of Aretha Franklin coming out, and it showed her singing Respect, and the name of the movie is called Respect. So, so far we've had Freddie Mercury / Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody, and then we had the Elton John movie that just came out as well, these musical biopics. So this might be the new trend now, but Jennifer Hudson is a perfect choice for Aretha Franklin, and it should be interesting to see what this biopic looks like. And unlike Tenet, which I really don't have any desire to see right now, this was just enough to show her singing Respect and saying Jennifer Hudson is Aretha Franklin. That got me thinking, I kind of want to maybe see this movie. So I'll keep an eye out when that's going to be coming up as well. Visual effects artists are still working on the Cats special effects, even though the film is presently in theaters. So basically what happened was the special effects were not done properly to their full extent, but because they had set the date for when the picture was supposed to come out, they had to reach it at that point. So they said, okay, it's done enough, let's send it out there. It hasn't made a lot of money. It's been getting a lot of bad publicity and ratings and reviews and stuff like that. I still want to see it. But now they're sending out stuff to the movie houses saying, the movie's still being worked on. We might be able to send you better effects that we've been still working on. So they've been cleaning up the effects and might make them a little bit better. So that's to be continued as well. But I still want to see it. So maybe by the time we get to see it, which hopefully maybe it'll still be in theaters, maybe early January, they will have the new versions out and the new effects. But I still want to see it regardless, so we'll see what happens. I'm going to try because I want to see it. My daughter wants to see it, so that's good. This is actually kind of interesting casting. And the more I think about it, it actually might be okay because I really can't think of anybody else right now. But the Moon Knight TV show is going to be on Disney Plus, and then eventually Moon Knight will be making his way to the MCU movies. They are supposedly talking to Harry Potter himself, Daniel Radcliffe, into portraying the role of Moon Knight. And that could be kind of an interesting take on it. Moon Knight has multiple personalities, and I guess he could be a little athletic, but he's about the right size for it. So we'll see. It's just, as I said, they're just talking about it right now. So we'll see what happens. I had out going shopping yesterday. I was at Walmart and I discovered they had Milky Way salted caramel candy bar. Said I got to try this, so I picked it up and I tried it, and it was okay. It wasn't outstanding. It tasted like a regular Milky Way. There was a little bit of more of a crunchiness when it comes to the salt, but I didn't really taste a salty caramel flavor to it. It just seemed like regular Milky Way to me. But I don't want to, if you like Milky Way, and I like Milky Way, it was good in that aspect, but it just seemed like, okay, this is a little different. So what I'll do is I think I'll do the Mandalorian reviews here, and then I will shift over to my Santa theory, my theory of Santa. A good half hour into the show is a good time for that, and then we'll get back to the stuff here. I can't even remember what the 5th episode of The Mandalorian was even about. Oh, I remember now. So yeah, I don't know if I did. So I'll do the 5th one too, because I do remember it also. So we'll do 5 through 7. So I finally got all caught up in that. Now, episode 5 of The Mandalorian features the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda going to Tatooine, of all places, and finding a job at Mos Eisley, where they have to go pick up a assassin. And the guy who has the chip on her is someone who wants to make his way into the Assassin's Guild, but he doesn't know how to get started. So he asks the Mandalorian for help, and the Mandalorian decides to help him. And the guy says, I don't care about the money. You can keep the money. I just want this to be my ticket into the Assassin's Guild. So they make their way across Tatooine. So we see what happened on Tatooine. We see what's going on in Mos Eisley and stuff like that. And then they make their way out to the Dune Sea, where they find the assassin, who is played by Ming-Na Wen. And eventually they're able to catch her. And she convinces the other bounty hunter, while Mandalorian is going to get them transport, that the Mandalorian would be a better pickup than she would be. And he says, I don't care, and ends up killing her, and then decides that maybe I should go after the Mandalorian too. The Mandalorian discovers this and of course, does what he does best and defeats the guy. But then the mysterious thing happened. The body of Ming-Na Wen's character is left out in the Dune Sea, and someone in a cave approaches her. So I don't know what that's about. That could be interesting and could show a sign that Ming-Na will come back and might not be dead, might not be quite dead. So that was a quick episode 5. And the fact that it returned to Tatooine was pretty good, and had Amy Sedaris was one of the cast members, as well as Ming-Na Wen in there. And it was, entertaining, but all in all, just sort of a one-off sort of episode that didn't really add much to the story. Same thing with the 6th episode. The 6th episode basically focused on an old friend played by Bill Burr. Gets a call from Mandalorian. He needs a job again, needs some money. And he has been tasked to be the transport for a group of people who are trying to break into a prison ship to get a guy out of the prison ship. And it's people he's dealt with before, including a woman he had an affair with, Tikla, who he had an affair with, and she's kind of crazy anyway. Turns out that it's a double cross anyway, and the Mandalorian has to go and take them all out. And it's a pretty satisfying episode and action packed. Kind of interesting. And then the seventh one, which is the penultimate episode, the final episode of the first season, will be out next Friday, the 27th. And the seventh episode gets us back to the main storyline at all, and ends with a cliffhanger and the return of some friends. So basically, the Mandalorian gets a message from Carl Weathers' character saying that ever since he left, the Empire has made their presence felt more on their planet, and the Guild hasn't been able to do as much stuff. So the Empire has hired the Guild to, capture the Mandalorian, and if they do that, they'll take back the city. But Carl Weathers doesn't want to do that anymore. He wants the Mandalorian to help him kill the Empire leader and get the city back under the control of the Assassin's Guild and not the Empire. And so Mando thinks this is, and then he says if he does that, that his bounty will be expunged and his name will be cleared and everything will be good. So, and then he and Yoda can go off on their own and live their own. Baby Yoda can go off on their own and live their own life and not have to worry about ever being chased again. So of course he thinks about that, but he also doesn't trust it. So he goes and meets up with I forget the actress name, the actress from the previous episode, who was the rebel who helped him save the that one village. Gina Carano, that's right, Gina Carano. So she comes back into it and helps him out, and then he goes back and gets Nick Nolte's alien character to help him as well. And they go and they meet up with Carl Weathers, who has a bunch of assassins people to come take them into the Empire, where they'll be able to assassinate the Empire leader. We learned some interesting things, though, about Baby Yoda. One thing is that Gina Carano and the Mandalorian are having a simple arm wrestling for money, just while they're killing time. And to Baby Yoda's eyes, Gina Carano is hurting the Mandalorian, so he uses the Force to force choke her, which is amazing because really only dark Jedi use the Force choke. And Mando's able to stop it. And then while they're making their way to the Empire, the city where the Empire is in control, Carl Weathers and his group, they stay for the night, and they get attacked by a bunch of flying, I believe they look like Minox. They get attacked by these flying creatures who, when you get scratched by them, poison gets inserted into your arm, and you start having a painful death. But that happens to Carl Weathers' character, and Baby Yoda goes over and heals him. So now Baby Yoda can shown Force choke, has held a giant creature with the Force as well, and also healed somebody. So it's all kind of off kilter. So we learned that Carl Weathers actually was going to double cross Mandalorian, but decided because Baby Yoda saved him that they're not going to do that. So the Mandalorian has a plan to get them into there and to stop the crime and do everything that they're supposed to do. But things go south, and we meet Giancarlo Esposito's Moff, who comes in and wants the child, and they have the Mandalorian, Gina Carano, and Carl Weathers pinned down in a building surrounded by the Empire. Meanwhile, Nick Nolte's alien character was trying to keep Baby Yoda safe, but he gets killed by two biker scouts, and Baby Yoda gets kidnapped, and that's where the episode ended. So it's a cliffhanger. We'll see what happens. So we got one more episode of that left before the new season comes out, whenever that is. They're filming that presently right now. So that is my reviews for the last 3 episodes of The Mandalorian. I'm caught up. My family is not, so we'll have to catch it maybe over the holidays. So now we're going to talk about my theories of Santa. These aren't my theories. These are the theories that have been postulated in other places as well. The first theory about Santa, for those who don't know, just to re-verify, Santa Claus is the spirit of Christmas, a big, jolly, fat man with a beard who drives around in a sleigh with 8 tiny reindeer, 9 sometimes if you count Rudolph, and is able to deliver presents to all the children in the world in one night. Now, it's a good story, and you believe in if you believe in Christmas, you believe in Santa, and so there have always been people who've been trying to figure out how could Santa do this in one night if he existed. Well, here's some theories that postulated from pop culture. First up, from the Harry Potter world, a Harry Potter fanatic said it's a twofold job. Remember, a lot of wizards travel through flue powder, through chimneys. Santa Claus has been known to go down chimneys into people's houses and deliver presents and then go back up the chimneys. Well, what if he's not really going up and down the chimneys, but actually going using the flue network to go from house to house? And at the same time, he's also using a time turner so that he can deliver all the presents to kids in one night. So that's an interesting theory. It also postulates that St. Nicholas was at Hogwarts and was probably a Hufflepuff like me. There's that, and use a time tuner. So does that as well. This is my favorite one. This is the one I really like a lot. This is from a comic book called Fables, and they had a great one-off issue about Christmas. And the theory behind this one is that Santa Claus actually has powerful magic that he only uses once a year, Christmas Eve and a Christmas Day. And that powerful magic is that he can create millions of copies of himself and keep his, brain in all of them. And they all come to different people's houses to deliver their presents. So they all get released at once, and they all go to different houses, and so there's millions of these Santas, and they just appear there's millions of these Santas, and they just appear in the people's houses all at the same time and deliver the presents and get back. And then the power comes right back into Santa, so he's done in no time flat. Now, the other thing behind that story as well is that if you happen to be awake and you catch him putting presents out, you may ask Santa one question and he will answer it truthfully. Any question, he will give you an answer to that question. Could be the meaning of life, could be when am I going to die, whatever. And Santa just happens to know that stuff, and he'll tell you the truth. This is when you're going to die. This is the meaning of life, stuff like that. So people have been trying to stay up to catch him, and not very many people have been able to do it. But in this issue of Fables, the Bigby Wolf is able to catch him and discovers that his coming year is going to be the hardest one of his life. So I kind of like that one because it makes everything happen at one time. Of course, it also gets rid of the whole flying reindeer and chimney stuff like that, but it would explain how Santa's able to deliver presents to everybody in one night because he just does it at one time, boom, and done. He is Christmas spirit personified. That's in the awesome animated film Claus on Netflix. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out. Claus is basically the origin of Santa in animated format. It's one person's version of it. And after Santa's family dies, Claus's family dies, he continues to just make toys out of wood for kids, and he hooks up with a mailman in the small island town, and they create the legend of Santa Claus. But they do this for years, and it comes to a point where Claus is going to die, so he gets embraced by the Christmas spirit. And because he is the Christmas spirit, he is able to deliver the presents to everybody in one night because of the Christmas spirit and being able to, everybody, because you got to think about this, yes, I know a lot of people are upset and depressed and during Christmas, but the majority of people, they have the Christmas spirit, the feeling of that for the one night, everything's great and happy and everyone's excited, stuff like that, and just waiting to see what's going to happen. And that spirit emboldens Claus to be able to deliver all the presents at one time without, it's some sort of on a spiritual type of level. It gets it done and everybody does it. So I like that one also. It's mentioned just real briefly in the Santa Claus movies, but another theory is that there's some sort of time distortion that happens so that Santa is able to deliver to all the houses in a set time. Like, similar to, wormholes or whatever can go back in time, forward in time, whatever, and deliver stuff, or time slows down when he's in the sled and stuff like that. So that's another okay idea as well. And then finally, in the most recent film, Noel, which I watched, they said that they didn't really explain what happens, but it appears that Santa does go back to the North Pole a number of times to get presents. So instead of just going all at one time, they deliver to one certain area, go back to the warehouse, get some more stuff, and then take off into another direction, hit that stuff there, come back, go back into another direction, so on and so forth, like that. That's kind of an intriguing and interesting idea as well. So those are the Santa theories. I'm sure there's probably a couple that I've missed. I didn't really do too much research into it because I've got a lot on my plate coming up. So I just want to hit that. So I'm going to get that something Christmassy to tide us over in this wonderful season of giving. So let your kids believe in Santa as long as they want. I still like to make them believe in Santa Claus, and I still do the whole thing where I open the doors and I go, ho, 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 even though they're probably asleep, and do stuff, and we still put out the cookies and milk and all this stuff, and it's fun. And I also like to make statements that I've seen Santa and I've talked to him because I'm up late at night and stuff like that. So it's fun to believe, and believe as long as you want, because it's nice and it's part of the Christmas spirit. So back to our crazy stuff. Oh, Ursula themed dessert. Okay. The Little Mermaid's biggest villain was Ursula, the octopus type of creature. Well, Disney has created this dessert that's got these purple tentacles and stuff like that. That's supposedly really yummy and sweet. So we'll see. Kind of interesting thing to think about. Target is selling raspberry wine bombs that explode glitter into your rosé. So I guess you drop like a bath bomb into your rosé, must be smaller, and it bursts and it puts glitter in your rosé, and I guess it tastes like raspberry, adds to the rosé flavor. I might have to see if Target has it, because wouldn't that be considered to be alcoholic? Maybe not, but I'll have to check it, because they said Target has a bunch of this stuff, and I haven't been able to see a lot of it. Like last week, I talked about the fairy lights with the snow in it, and I didn't see those at Target, so who knows? But that's what they say. Woman tries to set her boyfriend on fire after he doesn't celebrate her getting a job at Subway. Now, I mean, I know you're upset that your boyfriend does not appreciate that you got this job that you've been wanting, and you feel proud of yourself for getting this job. There's no reason for you to set him on fire, to let out your anger. That's just not the right thing to do. Australia is in a lot of trouble right now. It's actually summer. The first day of summer was this week, but Australia's been burning basically for the last couple weeks, going through a massive heat wave before proper summer hit, which was today, or late last night, I should say. But Australia has hit 120 degrees 2 days in a row. And not just about certain areas of Australia, the entire continent of Australia. And then Brisbane, which is in Australia, also just recently had to look out for flash floods after receiving a 1 hour rainfall equivalent of 6 months. So for 1 hour during the day, Brisbane got an equivalent of 6 months worth of rain at one sitting. So there's all kinds of weird stuff happening down in Australia, which is climate change oriented, probably. And they're kind of upset about that, as they should be. Virginia farmer creates a 15-foot tall hay sculpture of Willie Nelson, which isn't, it sounds funny, but in the end, Willie 15-foot tall hay sculpture that looks like Willie Nelson is pretty interesting. And he's not smoking weed anymore. I told you that last week. He stopped for his health. Man has a 7-inch bottle removed from his ass after he used it to scratch himself. So, sometimes you get that butt scratch like that. And so, I guess sometimes you don't want to use your fingers. That's disgusting. But this dude actually took a bottle and shoved it up his ass and started scratching it, and it got stuck in there. So, he had to remove a 7-inch bottle from his ass. Okay, that's all the stuff. Okay. A teen applied to college and discovered that he had been a missing person for 13 years. Now, here's the story. Supposedly, when he was young, his father, who was picking him up from daycare, ended up not returning him to their home that they shared with his mom, but instead he drove the kid and kidnapped the kid away from the mom to start a whole new life elsewhere. Now, the kid was too young to realize what was going on, but he knew who his dad was and was with his dad. And so he created a new identity for him and his son. And again, you're a kid, so you don't remember much as when you were younger. So, as you're growing up, you think this is the norm. And he probably made up some stories that your mother passed away or whatever at the same time as you probably don't remember. Or maybe he's whatever. But regardless, is the interesting aspect of it is the mother obviously is distraught, and you should be kidnapping your own kids. So they put a missing persons out on him. They never found him. But meanwhile, he was living a happy life with his dad elsewhere. So, in some cases when kids get kidnapped, it's a horrible thing where the parent is abusing the children or doing worse to them or whatever. In this case, it was still wrong. Don't get me wrong. And I would never, condone kidnapping. But the boy was lucky that the reason why nothing ever it was still wrong. Don't get me wrong. And I would never, condone kidnapping. But the boy was lucky that the reason why nothing ever came out about it and didn't even know about it was because the dad was a good dad to him. And he thought everything was normal until he discovered this, and his social security number didn't match what he was in the system for or something like that. And that set off all the bells and whistles. So that was just kind of an interesting thing. So dad's been arrested, I believe, but now the kid's like, wow, this is crazy. Postal workers accused of selling crack out of his mail truck during deliveries. Not really too surprising, really, because why not? You're all over the place. You can stop in neighborhoods and sell your crack that way. Make a little extra money on the side. Also, men were using priority mail to ship cocaine from Puerto Rico to Rhode Island. So again, the mail is useful in this case. So instead of a mail person selling the cocaine out of their delivery truck, they were delivering the cocaine through priority mail from Puerto Rico to Rhode Island, which is interesting. And more than 3,000 pounds of marijuana was found in a U-Haul truck recently as well. So all kinds of crazy drug stuff happening around here. You thought that stuff was crazy. This is all the kind of accidents that happened over the last couple of days. 2 Carnival Cruise Line ships crashed into each other in open water. And everyone is wondering, how the heck did that happen? How did you not see each other? You're 2 massive Carnival cruise ships that hit each other in open water. It wasn't like you were going into dock or something like that. It was in open water. Also, a double-decker bus hit a low-hanging bridge, and that's kind of interesting. It's like, how did you not realize that you couldn't get? I mean, you should have seen that you would not be able to get your double-decker bus underneath this bridge. They probably have signs all over saying only this high can come under here, because they have those signs all over the place. A train bridge collapsed with a train on it. Hopefully, I don't think anybody died from it, but still, it was kind of scary that happened recently. And then today, just outside of Gettysburg, a 45-car accident occurred on US 64, I guess, due to ice and fog. So it's been kind of a rough couple days for all kinds of accidents and stuff like that. So crazy stuff. All right, we got the last page of stuff, so we'll see if we get this done. It should be a little bit over an hour probably. There was another trailer that came out this week. The sequel to Top Gun will be out in June or July. I don't remember. And I've never been a big fan of Top Gun. I saw this trailer. I was like, okay, looks pretty interesting. But I get a full-time Top Gun trailer, so it's a sure thing. Top Gun Maverick will be out sometime this summer coming up. So could be a big film. We'll see what happens. A Dad Bods and Rescue Dog calendar has raised money for a bulldog rescue and raised a lot of money. So, you don't just need to be a buff fireman. You can be a dad bod guy and still make money for dogs and stuff like that. That's kind of cool. Second season of Green Eggs and Ham is coming from Netflix. I talked about this, like, how do you even do a first season? Well, now you got a second season coming. So how the heck are you doing 2 seasons of a story that is pretty, not a lot there? I don't know. Gummy pickles that taste like real pickles are a thing now. In this time when you have gummy stuff, it doesn't taste like anything except for gummy stuff. This will actually taste like pickles. So if you're a pickle fan, that might be something you might be interested in. A new Jackass movie will be coming in 2021, 11 years after the last one. So it should be interesting to see these old dudes now doing kinds of crazy stuff that hurt themselves 11 years after the last film. In the comic world, Transformers versus Terminator will be coming out next year sometime, I guess through IDW because they own the rights to those. That could be pretty interesting when you have Terminator versus Robot. I don't think they've done one of those yet. So that'd be kind of interesting to see. Warner Brothers live-action animation hybrid starring Wile E. Coyote got a director and has been greenlit, so we'll be seeing a live-action animated Wile E. Coyote movie. Okay. Don't know how it's going to happen, but yeah, we'll see what happens. What in the world is this? I have no idea what this says, so I don't know what this is. Well, I don't remember. Quentin Tarantino's idea for Halloween 6 is actually kind of interesting. Now, for those who've seen Halloween 5, which is actually just became a straight-up slasher film, really, just Michael Myers go around killing people. But there's an interesting wrinkle added to it because there is appeared to be a weird guy dressed in black and a motorcycle following him around, and the final climax has this man in black attacking a police office that has Michael Myers in custody, and the two of them escape. Now, we learn in the actual Halloween 6 that the man in black was a character from the first Halloween that no one even remembers, and they were there to, he was part of a kind of weird sort of film, and the 6th one was a lot more violent and a lot more weird, and it starred Paul Rudd, one of his early things. Well, Quentin Tarantino had an idea for a Halloween 6 movie instead. He said he had to follow what happened in the 5th one. So his idea would have been that the man in black and Mike Myers would have escaped from Haddonfield and would have gone across country on this motorcycle, just killing people because they had to, sort of like a natural born killer sort of thing that he created. It could have been an interesting idea if done properly, to spread Halloween not just from Haddonfield, but to other stuff as well. Woman claim books as I have no idea what that is. It looks like it says women claiming books as reindeer. Oh, boobs, not books. Women are decorating. It's decorating. God, women are decorating their boobs to look like reindeer. So you see before you got the boob here, and the tit would be like Rudolph's nose, and then you would draw all kind of stuff on the boob and make it look like a reindeer, like eyes and antlers and stuff like that. Not really attractive and not really getting the old juices flowing to see it, but whatever. The Skywalker saga, the last movie of the Star Wars saga, Rise of Skywalker, came out on Friday, and so there are now 9 movies in the Star Wars saga that has just completed. Well, much like they're going to do with the Thanos saga and the Infinity Stone saga with Marvel, they are going to release a 27-disc box set of every single of the 9 movies. So I guess 9 movies, 3 discs each makes it 27 discs. So there's going to be all kinds of weird stuff that'll be coming out next year, along with the I talked about the Marvel 54-disc set coming soon as well. So that's the new trend now, is to get these massive, world beater crossover type things all together into one set and add some new stuff and behind the scenes things and get people to buy these massive things to get this new behind the scenes stuff. So we'll see if that turns out to be okay. Science proves that the giant Easter Island statues helped plants grow. I didn't read the whole article yet, but the fact is that there have been scientific proof that the giant heads on Easter Island were used in some form or another to help plants grow. So that's pretty cool. Pokemon Go has introduced buddy Pokemon a while back, but now if you feed them and play with them and stuff like that, you can do that now. They will come out and they will walk around with you while you're walking around as well. And then eventually they're supposed to help you in fights and bring you stuff and stuff like that. I haven't seen that yet. So not that big of a deal for me, but oh well. Just thought I'd be mentioning. A social media influencer says she is too beautiful to work. Yeah, right. So am I. Too beautiful to work, please. You're terrible. Schools were closed this past Monday due to snow and ice here in the Eastern Seaboard. I don't know why I brought that up. I figured I may as well bring it up as something to add some time to this. Baby Yoda has become a street art pop icon. There have been Baby Yoda graffitis popping up all over the country. Some of them are actually really good. They showed some pictures of them. So, hey, that's kind of an interesting thing to do for a character that hasn't really been that much in the series The Mandalorian, but everyone loves Baby Yoda. And thing to do for a character that hasn't really been that much in the series The Mandalorian, but everyone loves Baby Yoda. And Disney totally saw how this was going to go down. So interesting about that. Remains of 3 people were found in the Alamo down in San Antonio. I don't know if they were doing renovations. They discovered the remains of 3 people. So I don't know if these are people from the time of the Alamo battles or if they are recent or whatever. They didn't go into much detail, but the remains of 3 bodies have been found on the grounds of the Alamo. So that's interesting. The Oakland Raiders, the football team, is moving to Las Vegas next year. And everyone has known that they were going to Vegas for about 2 years, and Oakland has begrudgingly kept them in their stadium while their new stadium in Las Vegas was being built. It's almost complete, and they'll be moving to Las Vegas for next year's season. However, Oakland had their last home game last weekend, and as befitting what you expect from the Oakland Raiders, it was filled with throwing garbage, fighting with security, and more as they have their last game played in Oakland. So, I mean, what do you expect? I think the Browns had a similar thing because they knew that they were moving to Baltimore near the end of the season also, and their last home game was just lots of garbage and booing and crazy stuff happening. So we'll see what happens about that. So Oakland Raiders are moving on to Las Vegas next year, so that should be interesting. We are not playing them, so we will not have anything to do with them unless they make it to the playoffs next year, as do we. But this year we do not play them at all. Uh, a bearded man was just walking in the grocery store doing his own groceries, doing his regular grocery stuff, when a young 2-year-old girl saw him and thought he looked exactly like Santa Claus. So she thought he was Santa Claus. So she ran up to him and started talking to him as if he was Santa Claus. Now, the parents were nearby, so they wanted to be sure that the guy wasn't a psycho, but he wasn't. He was a nice guy, and he pretended to be Santa for the young girl and answered her questions. And she told him what he wanted, what she wanted, and stuff like that. So I think it's kind of cute that they allow that to happen. Speaking of beards, where is that? There we go. Beards are now a thing. I think I talked about this a while back. Beards are now a thing for women. So there's someone out there who think it's pretty cool that they should be able to grow beards as well. So there are a few women out there who've actually grown beards, and sorry, it doesn't do anything for me either. So, but hey, more power to you. Do what you do. If you're a Star Wars fan, I talked about the last of the Skywalker saga came out on Friday. If you were a fan of Star Wars and remember when Han Solo was frozen in carbonite, well, now if you want to get that special gift for the Star Wars fanatic in your life, you can now get their face posted on a poster that they can hang in their house, framed, I think, a framed picture in their house with their face as if they were frozen in carbonite like Han. I don't know how they do it, but it's kind of cool. A new species of super venomous spider has been discovered, and they love to hang out in your clothes. So that's something more you have to worry about now, is to see if these super venomous spiders are now hanging out in your clothes. A robot planter follows sunlight and throws a tantrum if it doesn't get watered enough. So that's kind of interesting. So you put a plant on this planter and it walks towards where the sun is, and then if it doesn't get enough water, it starts. That's kind of interesting as well. Somebody invented a way to get the perfect dog selfie. Dogs always have this way of. Okay, so it's coming for dinner. Okay, have this way of just not looking when you're taking pictures. But someone has figured out a way to do the selfie. They put a ball on top of the phone, the ball on top of here, so that'll draw the dog's attention, and then click, you can take the picture and get your dog selfie now. So that's kind of an interesting new thing, new invention that they created for that. Another trailer came out for a movie I did not know what it was about until I saw the trailer. It's called Downhill, and it stars Will Ferrell and Julia Louis-Dreyfus. And it is not what you might think it is. It seems to be more of a comedy drama about a family that seems to be having some issues. And they decide to go to a ski resort for a vacation. And all kinds of terrible things start happening where the family seems like they're starting to splinter a little bit. Like one is, while they're sitting out on this deck, an explosion occurs that creates an avalanche that comes, and everyone doesn't know what it is. They think it's a real avalanche. A lot of people think it's a real avalanche, but we discover that it was a planned explosion and that there was warnings all over the place, but they claim never to see it, but Will Ferrell did, and he ended up not caring if his family was safe or whatever. And there were some other things as well, but it seems more of a comedy drama thing. Looks a little depressing. I don't know. It's something that I want to see, but it looks like that it's a little something different that you expect from Will Ferrell. To have Julia Louis-Dreyfus in there as well, it might be interesting, but for now it just doesn't look like anything that's too enticing for me right now. So kind of a weak week for trailers. Got 2 stories left, and then I'm out of here for Christmas break. An Amazon delivery van. Hold on, let me just finish this off. That's really good stuff. I'm going to start buying more of that. So an Amazon delivery van was stolen in Baltimore. Now that makes kind of sense if you're a thief, because now is the time where everybody's Christmas presents are in there, and you're going to get all kinds of good stuff like computers and phones and all kinds of video games and video game, machines and stuff like that. So it makes a lot of sense to do that. So I'm not saying you should, but still it makes sense why they would do that. But the other thing is, this affects my family. No, we didn't have anything on this truck, but my daughter's school did. Now my daughter is in an after school book club that they meet like every other Thursday, where they read a book and then they discuss it. So it's like your typical book club, whatever. Well, they were going to read To Kill a Mockingbird and discuss it. And the teacher that runs the book club had just bought a bunch of new copies of To Kill a Mockingbird for this book club, and they were on this Amazon truck. So now they don't have their books because they were stolen by this guy who stole this truck. And finally, the last story of the day, and it's actually a really interesting one. In England, I guess you sell, I guess it would probably maybe like a Walmart-esque type of store, I guess, because a teenager went to the store, picked up a PS4, but instead of paying the $350 or however $300, whatever it costs like that, what he did was he weighed it in the fruit section. So I'm guessing it's like a Walmart where they have produce sections. So, when you are getting produce, you put it into a bag and you can weigh it to see how much it weighs, because a lot of it goes by like $1 a pound or $2.50 a pound for grapes or strawberries or whatever. So people would grab a bunch of grapes and they would put in the weight to see, okay, it says it's going to be 3 pounds. So if it's $1 a pound, it's going to cost $3 to buy this because it's 3 pounds, $1 a pound. So what the guy ended up doing, this teenager ended up doing, was he weighed the PS4 on one of these fruit sections, I guess. And I guess it weighed 8 pounds. No, I'm sorry. It weighed 6 pounds. And he went to the self-service place, and instead of, I guess, scanning the PS4, I guess he typed in, he must have had to have typed in one of the other fruit numbers that weighed 6 pounds, and he only ended up paying 8 pounds for a PS4 because he just went and weighed it at the fruit stand instead of paying the $350 thing. So kind of a smart little thing, because he went to the self-serve place. So, if you're not watching the self-service place, you can get away with some stuff as well. So kind of interesting story to end on this Christmas episode. Again, sorry for the lack of real exciting Christmas stuff, but unfortunately without Jerry on, being unable to do that, not much I can do really about it. And it's pretty much just what my show does, where I just talk about kind of the new stuff that comes out. So next week, we'll be out probably on the 29th. We will probably be doing our end of the year show. I'll still be keeping an eye on the weekend news, but with Christmas, there's probably not going to be a lot of interesting stuff happening. So we'll see what happens. So we'll be talking about the year 2019, that a little bit. And we will discuss some of the big hot stuff that came out this year, popular stuff like the Baby Yodas and the Popeye's chicken sandwich, and we might even do a little bit of in memoriam. We'll see. I always do that around the end of the year, so we'll see what happens about that. I didn't do it last year, but we'll see what happens this year. So I'll take a look and see what we got for this week, and I'll try to get it done this time next week. So here we are, 10:31 on December 22nd. By the time we come back again next week, Christmas will be come and gone. So until then, have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. From now on, our troubles will be out of sight. And I guess this will be the one time I should probably do a good ending song for Christmas. So I want you all to have a safe, happy, and Merry Christmas. Happy holidays if you don't celebrate that. And let me get a good little This is from my favorite movie, Christmas movie of all time, A Christmas Story, which I'll be watching on Christmas Eve. This is We Wish You a Merry Christmas, which is the end credits of the movie. And when I hear this, I know that it's time for bed because I would have wrapped my wife's presents by this time and the kids' presents. We're taking pictures of the Christmas tree and getting ready for Christmas. So I don't know who is the band who does this, but this is We Wish You a Merry Christmas from A Christmas Story. I wish you a very Merry Christmas. Have a great one. And we'll see you back here after Christmas for our year in review episode. Thanks for watching.